Welcome to Themidnightburn. Yeah, this episode is going to turn some heads and roll some stomachs. One thing about this channel though, it's 100% credible and true. So if you hear it here, you can take it to the bank. Themidnightburn is raw, explicit, uncensored, and unforgiving of bullshit. This one isn't for kids, very explicit from here on. Let's dive in. June 9th, 2023, Meridian, Mississippi. A mother lies awake in her home, relieved that the chaos of the night is finally over. The deputies have left. The house is quiet. She's alone now, safe, or so she thought. Because one of those deputies is coming back. And what he's about to do will shatter not just her life, but expose a rot so deep in Lauderdale County law enforcement that it'll make your blood run cold. This is the story of Lindsay Dearman and the badge that betrayed her. Let me take you back to that night. Lindsay Dearman is 31 years old, a mother. She's at home in Meridian after a party her boyfriend, Robert Alex Slavic, hosted earlier. She falls asleep. Normal night, right? Wrong. Early morning hours roll in and there's a disturbance. Someone calls 911. Two Lauderdale County Sheriff's deputies show up, Clifford Holloway and Tim McDonald. They handle it like any domestic call. Slavic gets ordered to leave. His father takes the kids out of the house for their safety. The deputies clear the scene. Lindsay is left alone. Now, here's where this story takes a turn into absolute nightmare territory. Deputy Tim McDonald comes back. Not with his partner. Not on official business. Just him. Alone. Walking back into that house where a vulnerable woman is by herself, probably thinking the worst of her night is behind her. But McDonald didn't come back to check on her. He came back to destroy her. According to the federal lawsuit Lindsay would later file, McDonald did something so calculated, so evil, it's hard to wrap your mind around. He threatened her, told her he could have the Department of Human Services take her children away if she didn't do what he said. Think about that. A mother's worst fear, weaponized by a man with a badge and a gun. And then he asked her a question that still makes my skin crawl. He asked her, does he have to use a condom? Tim McDonald raped Lindsay Dearman that night, used his authority, his badge, his power over her life and her children to force himself on her. This wasn't just sexual assault. This was a betrayal of every oath he'd ever taken. Every promise law enforcement makes to protect and serve. Lindsay's life was never the same after those moments. But you know what's almost worse than what McDonald did? What happened next? You'd think when something this heinous happens, the system kicks in, right? The sheriff's department investigates, arrests the deputy, tells the public there's a predator in a uniform. That's not what happened here. Not even close. Sheriff Billy Solly was in charge at the time, near the end of his career. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation opened a case. McDonald got suspended. But here's the thing. Nobody told the public. No press release. No warning. The whole thing stayed behind closed doors. Then Ward Calhoun takes over as sheriff. Calhoun had been chief deputy when all this went down, so he knew. He knew what McDonald had done. And what did he do with that knowledge? He let McDonald resign. June 2023. Just days after he raped Lindsay Dearman, Tim McDonald walked out of the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office with a resignation on file. The reason listed? Misconduct in office. Misconduct in office. Like he showed up late to work or filed paperwork wrong. Not rape, not sexual assault, not felony abuse of power. Just misconduct. And here's the part that should terrify every single person in Mississippi. Lindsay was never told. Nobody informed her that the man who violated her had been pushed out. She was left in the dark, wondering if anyone even cared, if there would ever be justice. But it gets worse. Because Tim McDonald didn't just disappear. He got another job. Put that uniform right back on. Kemper County Sheriff James Moore hired him. Listed him as K-17 Timothy McDonald on patrol. A man who just raped someone while on duty was now patrolling another county, interacting with other vulnerable people, with nobody in his new community knowing what he'd done. How did that happen? How did Lauderdale County let a rapist with a badge walk right into another law enforcement agency? Simple. They buried it. Sheriff Calhoun's office said nothing. No warnings sent to the state certification board beyond standard paperwork. No heads up to Kemper County, just silence. This wasn't an oversight, this was a choice. A calculated decision to protect the department's reputation over protecting the public, over protecting Lindsay. And under Mississippi law, what McDonald did was a felony. An officer engaging in sexual acts while on duty is official misconduct, punishable by years in prison. The sheriff's department had a duty to refer this for prosecution. They didn't. They let him walk away. Let him keep his freedom, keep his career, keep his power. While Lindsay Dearman was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. So what did Lindsay do? She fought back. December 2024. Lindsay files a federal civil rights lawsuit against Sheriff Ward Calhoun, Lauderdale County, and others involved. She's going after them under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, accusing them of violating her constitutional rights, of enabling McDonald's abuse, of covering up his crimes. The lawsuit lays it all out. The rape, the threats, the department's failure to protect her, their negligent hiring and training, the cover-up. But she's not just fighting in civil court. She's waiting for the criminal justice system to do its job. And she waits, and waits. Nearly 2 years after that night, a grand jury finally hears the case. The Mississippi Attorney General's office presents the evidence. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation has been involved. And you know what that grand jury decides? No indictment, not enough evidence. Let me say that again. A deputy returns to a domestic violence victim's home alone, threatens to take her children, rapes her, and a grand jury says there's not enough evidence to even charge him. District Attorney Cassie Coleman sends Lindsay a letter. Brief, clinical. The grand jury declined to indict. Case closed. How does that happen? How does a victim do everything right, report the assault, cooperate with investigators, and still get told by the system that her trauma doesn't matter? Here's the ugly truth. Mississippi law had a gap. It criminalized sex between officers and prisoners, but not explicitly between officers and non-incarcerated victims under their authority. So legally, it's a gray area. A loophole that treats victims like Lindsay as if they could somehow consent to an armed officer's demands. That's not justice. That's a system designed to protect the powerful, the pieces of corrupt shit. So now McDonald walks free. No criminal charges, no trial, no formal recognition of what he did to Lindsay. But her civil lawsuit, that's still moving forward. And it's forcing these questions into the open. What did Sheriff Calhoun know, and when did he know it? Why was Lindsay kept in the dark about McDonald's resignation? Why was the public never warned? Why was McDonald allowed to get another law enforcement job? And how many other victims are out there who never came forward? This isn't just about one deputy in Lauderdale County. Mississippi Today ran an investigative series called Unfettered Power, Mississippi Sheriffs. They uncovered decades of abuse by law enforcement across the state. Sexual misconduct, corruption, officers preying on vulnerable people then hiding behind their badges. Lindsay Dearman's case fits that pattern perfectly. A deputy commits a heinous crime. His fellow officers close ranks. The victim is silenced. The system moves on like nothing happened. But Lindsay refused to stay silent. She's forcing the truth into the light. Her lawsuit is public record now. Sheriff Calhoun and his department are going to have to answer for their actions under oath. This is about accountability, about the idea that nobody, not even those who enforce the law, is above it. Tim McDonald is no longer listed as a Kemper County deputy. Sheriff Calhoun says he'll let the courts sort it out, but the damage is done, the trust is broken, and Lindsay is still fighting, still demanding the justice she was denied. This story should make you angry. It should shake you. Because if a deputy can rape someone while on duty, threaten to take her children, and walk away with just a resignation, then the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, to protect the powerful, to silence the vulnerable, and to intimidate you to stay quiet. Let me ask you something. What will it take for people to actually do something? What will it take for people to stop being quietly ignorant and open their mouths? Hopefully it doesn't take you being a victim of it yourself, or one of your children. I have so many true stories of horrendous experiences, and sadly most just needed to vent, too afraid to say anything. And while I will always respect those wishes, we need people to stand up to evil. We need people to hear these videos and actually like and share them. Get the information out there. And lastly, we need people to pick up the phone, send those emails, spread the word. I promise you it works.
What are we doing today? Who am I speaking with?
This is Sheriff Moore returning a call to this number.
Hello, Sheriff Moore. How are you today?
Good.
Look, my name is JP. I'm a private media outlet owner, and I am just stumbled across some very, very concerning things, and I wanted to get your take on it, Sheriff. I have just been informed that there is a deputy, Tim McDonald, and I have the letter from Sean Tyndale that states that his certification as a law enforcement officer lapsed, and he is no longer eligible to be in law enforcement. Are you aware of that, Sheriff?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, well, I have Sean Tyndale's letter here. We did a little background search on him. Also, sir, I would need you to know that there is he resigned on 6/15/23 from the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department. And we do know that he resigned prior to, during, or at the conclusion of the investigation of a rape allegation. Are you aware of that, Sheriff?
I'm aware of that.
Okay, so is there anything I assume that you're going to allow the courts to do their thing with that investigation?
That's right. That investigation was conducted by the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation along with the Attorney General's office, and he was cleared of all of that accusation by the grand jury of Lauderdale County.
Okay, well, fantastic. Okay, if he got, well, that's fantastic.
We do a good job on our background investigation. We have that evidence in our file, and we have no problem, with sharing it for the public record. So
yes, sir. You do, but you are
totally clear of that stuff from Lauderdale County from our district attorney Kathy Cole.
Fantastic, Sheriff. I'm glad to have that on the record. Now, Sheriff, what is the status of his certification going out, and him not getting his certification up to par, being an active?
So I'm not aware of what you're looking at or what letter you got from the commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
But my records don't indicate what you're telling me.
Well, if you need me to, I'll send this to you. Is this your personal number, or can I send you this link?
This is my work number.
Okay, fantastic. I'll send you that, and let me see. I think I have it right here. I can do it right now with you on the phone, probably. Let's look right here. I believe that's it right there. Yes, sir, it is. Let's see. I want to send that to you now, Sheriff.
All right, sir.
Let's see. What is that? What? Can you tell me your number over the phone, Jeff?
601.
Okay,
751 0325.
25. I'm sending that out to you right now. It says his certification, due to the law enforcement employment over 2 years, BLEOST certification has become inactive. To reactivate his certification, he'll be required to complete skills update. And that should have just come through on your text message, Cheryl.
All right, I'll look into this and I'll let you know something.
Fantastic, Sheriff. I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
These videos are real-life people going through real-life horror. And in my opinion, if you sit there and know evil in the face and choose to turn the other way instead of helping prevent it from happening again, you're part of the problem. I will continue to burn corrupt asses, and I will continue to shed light on cold cases and homicides. My last question is, what are you gonna do? Until next time, catch the dice. They rollin'.
Them crooked ass badges hit the floor. Flames so bright they all exposed. Midnight burn, bringing all the heat, all the heat. Dirty cows shaking in the street. Crooked ass badges hit the floor. Flames so bright they all exposed.